Uh, so, do my usual routine. Yo, I'm running out of money. I'm scared as fuck. Run on money magic. Money magic isn't about making money. It's about finding your own value. My purpose, when I used to work for Hugo Boss, it was so that I could fill my coffers up. Because I don't make money doing what I do. But niggas gotta eat. I'm down to my last $300. This happened a couple weeks ago too. I was in the same exact spot like 2 weeks ago. On a Thursday, no less. And then at the end of a 30-day money magic ritual that I was a part of, group ritual, $631 magically appeared in my account. I mean, I knew where it came from. But the timing was most appreciated. So tomorrow, we're gonna see. We'll see what happens. I don't know if my main spell's gonna work. But find out. Cause I got shit I got to do. And God told me, don't worry about it. I told you not to worry about it, and you're worrying about it. I know, but that's what I do. I have to worry about it, so I stop worrying about it. Are you scared? Oh, I'm fucking scared as shit. I'm not as scared as I was last time. Last week, or 2 weeks ago, I was a little bit shook. But I've been dealing with money trauma over this last month that should have fucking snapped my fucking psyche. Well, it did, actually. But that's a lesson that's been presenting itself to me over and over again for the past 5 years, especially over the last 8 months. Happy birthday, Perry. But it's kind of like the same shit over and over again. I find myself in a position where I'm like about to run out of money, and then something happens, and then the money's there. So it's kind of like I keep on getting put into this situation over and over again until I learned the lesson to just fucking trust it that the money's not gonna not be there. It got really bad in October. I had just quit Hugo Boss. I just quit Hugo Boss, and I didn't have a lot of money. I only had a couple $100s in the bank. And I had one more paycheck that was coming to me, but it was only for 1 week. I was scared shitless. And then I went to go get my check, and they double paid me. I was only making $12 an hour, but that last paycheck, my last pay stub showed me that I was getting paid fucking $24 an hour. All right. Which was like just enough to get me by for the next several weeks. And it got to a point where I actually wrote a letter to God. It's in my journal. I believe it was on October 10th or 11th that I wrote it. And then like 2 days later, I was like, listen, my faith is waning, bruh. You say trust, I trust. I follow my intuition. I listen to the sides. I listen to the voice in my head. But I can't help but feel a little bit sketchy about this situation. So could you give me a sign? Just something tangible that I can hold and share and go, look, it did happen. And as I was writing, I started channeling a message. And it said, don't worry. Keep doing what you're doing because the sign you're looking for is about to pop. And 2 days later, I got a call from the regional manager of the Northeast market of Hugo Boss. Asked me to do a 2 to 3 week mission of just holding down a store, helping out the staff, and just hanging out. That 2-3 week mission turned into a 4-month assignment where I ended up redoing the entire store and training all the staff. All expenses paid. They're paying for my hotel. 'Cause I live in New Jersey. They shipped me out to fucking Lancaster. They're paying for my hotel, paying for my travel, paying for my food, paying me. So I banked up a decent amount. So at the end of those 4 months, which was in February, the end of February, it was literally my last day was the last day of February. I had a nice little chunk to keep me funded. Because doing what I do, like, I do it mostly from my room, or out here, or anywhere. But I need money for cigarettes, I need money for food, and I need money for rent. And I need money to invest. Well, I mean, filling those criteria, getting the money for those three things, leaves me open to do what I continue doing, which is important to me. And it's important to everybody else, but nobody else can see that but me. Because my time is valuable. My work is valuable. This is not easy to come by. So everything worked out. And I was good for about a month. Went on a trip, started some new projects. It was great. And then I got called to do another mission. Well, even when I went to Lancaster originally, I only went there with like $300. And I had my friend's wedding. I couldn't give my friend money for his wedding. I couldn't pay him back for the tux that he rented for me. I couldn't pay him back for the fucking hotel he got for me. And I had to borrow his shoes. Excuse me. And what's fucking crazy, what's crazy about it is like, once I got back from that last trip, it was only 2 weeks. But once when I was there, my bank account went into the negatives. I fucking shit my pants. I had a lot of stress that I was dealing with there, regarding money. Now I knew in my mind, like, the money's gonna work out. But I couldn't help the fact that the stress and anxiety was still coming up. So and it did. I mean, I remember that one of my last days of dealing with the money stress, like, it peaked out. I popped. My mind popped. I snapped. And the next day, I got all my money back. Yeah. But they also shorted my paycheck, which so they shorted my paycheck like $600. We started this whole big fucking issue with me and them. So 2 weeks ago, I was down to my last $300. I'm going, fuck, man, this is bad. And then Friday morning, just something told me to check my bank account, and boom, there it was. All my back pay. Not all my back pay, a fraction of my back pay. But the only reason I even got that was because I got the fucking HR department involved. I got the compliance department involved. I got a lot of people involved. I gave them time. So last week, I'm like, fuck it, dude. Motherfuckers, I brought up a lot more than this. And ain't nobody giving me answers. So then I involved the company's third-party lawyer. I go, hey, listen, I'm not letting up on this. So we'll see. Because $300, I know that ain't gonna last. $295. But something about money magic that I learned from my teacher, Mia Magic. You can't be afraid. See, right now, what I should be doing, I should be fucking like losing my shit, hunting down a job, figuring out a way to get people to pay me. Nope, not gonna do it. I don't need to. Why? Because that's what it's telling me. Like, I don't need to be doing all that shit. I passed all my tests. I did all the things I need to do. I faced all the fucking challenges that need to be faced. And when it comes to money, We good. All right. It's a little hard to believe. There's a part of me that goes, yeah, it's a little too good to be true. But that's a theme that's been popping up a lot lately. Too good to be true. Excuse me. What if it's not? What if it's not too good to be true? What if it's just right? An hour. The scary part is, like, most people wouldn't be able to grasp that shit. But I've seen it enough times to know, I don't know, it always seems to work. And I've been having this feeling lately, it's just something I've done is about to blow up. In a good way. Not that I'm arrogant about it. And it says like, oh, it's going to work out. Everything's going to work out for me because it's me. Which maybe it might not even be the worst mentality to take. Like, yeah, it's going to work out because it's me. Because I believe, and they can argue the point if they would like, but I've done enough work for God and Satan over these past fucking years that I'm going to take their word for it that it's all good in the hood. Mind you, I define God and Satan a little bit differently than most people, but that's only really relevant to me. They're just titles. It's like Christ. I'm trying to think of like what the right mindset of it's supposed to be. I mean, what could possibly blow up? Like, I don't know, my writing? What I'm seeing, the vision I'm seeing in my mind right now is something I wrote in the past, prior to today, has made a really big impact on something, somewhere, someone, somewhere, something. And all the time and energy that I've invested into doing what I do is about to, like, really pay off. In 5 years, it's a lot of work. I got about 4.5 million words written just in my journals. It's not counting online. If I just start counting online writing, I mean, I probably got somewhere almost 6 million, maybe more. In 5 years, like, and there's all this stuff. I mean, technically I've been doing it for 5 years too. The very first video is from 2018 in my old kitchen, my old dining room. Plus, I talk to a lot of people from all walks of life. Plus, everything I'm doing is divinely guided, so. I mean, unless God and Satan want me living on the goddamn streets, which I don't believe. No, I was gonna record myself talking to my lady friend again, but I just got a message. Don't be so pushy. Ha. 2 in a row. So I don't know what to do about today, though. I don't know. Yesterday I was talking to her and I fucking let it all out. It felt so good. It felt like I popped a cork off of like, what's this? Ugh. It's people, man. I don't like walking by people. Oh, I'm fucking hungry. So I did some research last night and I found out what the name of those hours I was talking about. How the Jews have 12 hours a day and 12 hours of night. It's called relative hours. It's where the hours of the day flow with the cycles of the sun and moon. Oh, I'm so fucking weak. I mean, what am I thinking? I don't know what to do today. I feel like the fucked up thing is like I want to say like I feel bored. I should not feel bored about anything. But I'm also at a point where it's like I have to wait for time to catch up. The lesson right now is patience. It's telling me you've done everything that you've needed to do. At this point, everything else is like basically diminishing returns. So just enjoy the fruits of your labor and all the work that you've done so far, because if and when it pays off, then you can start carrying on phase 5. I think I need a warm body to snuggle up with. Jesus. I'm just fucking tired of sleeping by myself. I don't want to do this walk right now. I want to be in my fucking bed. quiet today. Yeah, I don't know. Well, I'm thinking about everything that happened yesterday and how it all relates into the bigger picture that I keep saying. Because what I have to do, I have to work on learning programming. I need to learn how to do that. Because the thing I'm trying to put together, I mean, how do I describe it? It's an orrery. An orrery clock based on geocentric time. Relative hours are based on geocentric time. So the length of the hours regulate themselves based on the positioning of the sun as it's going around the Earth. In relation to the Earth's orbit around its own axis. You have to marry the ideas of geocentric and heliocentric science, astronomy, to really kind of get the bigger picture. Which reminds me of this thing I learned in elementary school about Chinese cosmology. Now there's 3 layers. There's heaven. In between heaven and earth is China. And the way it was described to me was, or at least in the class, was how the Chinese stressed the importance of China over the rest of the earth. Because China is closer to heaven than Earth is. Earth would be like hell. That makes sense. Now, I don't know if they still apply those principles today. I would imagine that it's kind of ingrained into their DNA. I feel like white people are the only ones that aren't allowed to be self-important. The white races. White's not a race, by the way. You notice that, like, this might just be an American thing, but anytime you have to fill in the race, everyone else's race is associated with where they're from, except for white people. It says white, Caucasian. What? Yeah, but I think it does Asian too. Yeah, but that's at least a general range of where they come from. I mean, white people are pretty diverse. There's European, there's Russian. It's Mediterranean. Slavic. Now, I don't understand why that is. Why white people get all lumped together. like, you're white, huh? I'm German, Italian, I'm France. Yeah, but then again, I mean, I think it is an American thing. Most Americans, I would imagine, just based on the way I see things, don't really know too much about their own roots. Even got rid of Christopher Columbus Day. Demonized it. Meanwhile, the people that he enslaved were doing fucking blood rituals. What the fuck is all this shit, man? Well, maybe because they had their time in the spotlight. I don't know. Whatever. Kind of only white by association. Racist rant over. Racist observation. Oh my god, I'm like a mix of like high, starving, and sick. And I have nobody nursing me. Gross. That's exactly why dogs aren't supposed to be in there. Divine ones, can I have like something of interest to say? What do you want to say? I don't know. Just something to make me feel better. Like what kind of shit can I talk about to help clear up more space? Is this some kind of trauma or like curse or karma that I can dig into? No, you're pretty good. Come on. There's got to be something else in me that needs to come out. Think bigger than what you are. All right. What's something that only I can say? Fuck you. All right. Not exactly the answer I was looking for, but it'll do. What's your thoughts on intuition? Because that's what's running all of this right now. There's not much. I don't want to say there's not much Derek in it, but there's a lot of intuitive. What? Suggestion? That does give me an idea, which might come in handy. It'll come in handy sooner than later. How you doing, man?
Beautiful out, man.
Thank you. Thank you. I didn't hear what he said. I just got a sense there's alcohol in his bottle of soda. Alright, hopefully this fucking wakes me up a little bit. Because I'm like... I feel like I gotta get something to eat after this. This fucking suck, man. Pick up your shit. I gotta touch you. Oh, fuck it. I haven't fucking... Oh, God. Oh, my God. I can feel it right there. Fucker. Thank you. Fucking hell. 40. Yeah, I need something to eat. What's your thoughts on intuition? It's the driving force behind everything that I do. It can be confused for impulsiveness, which, if you want my personal opinion, impulsiveness is unrecognized intuition. I'm very impulsive. Where does it come from? Depends on how you want to define it. I mean, you gotta consider, like, idea of intuition kind of implies like a higher intelligence. And depending on how you want to frame that, is it a higher intelligence outside of yourself or a higher intelligence inside of yourself? Who's sending you those messages? Who's telling you to do the thing? Hi. Oh. You know what it is? I'm not appreciating my audience. So I saw this thing this morning, this post this morning in this Gnostic group that I'm in. And it's a fucking meme. I hate memes. They're so stupid. It was talking about like loving yourself and not needing somebody else. The difference between loving yourself and needing somebody to love you. Hey, both. It's like, it's this human thing to like deny that two opposing ideas can work out at the same time. Like, why can't you be in love with yourself but also require somebody else to love you? It doesn't need to be external. You need just as much internal validation as you do external validation, but you need as much external validation as you do internal validation. What's up, man? No, but that gives me an idea. No, we're gonna go do it right now. Hey, I asked for something that only I could say. So the only thing I could talk about is my experience with my own intuition and how I see it. But I want to invite my friend to a conversation, so. Because my intuition is telling me that there's a possibility that my intuition is telling me that we're already married. So, because of that, I kind of have to bring her into this. Because one, I don't know who the fuck you people are who are watching this. I don't know why. But I'd rather talk to her than to you. I love talking to myself. I say all the best things. Is that? No. I thought it was my stepdad. Sticky time. Nah, I prefer talking to her. And yesterday I realized, like, I was recording for her while I was recording for this. And I'm like, I had a much better time once I brought her into the conversation because it's like, this camera was just there. And the reason I wanted to include everybody together was because of the benefit that it's going to have for me. Because, and part of the reason I'm even doing this, right? Because I think we've gotten to a point where I have done a really good job at pulling out who I am when I'm alone on here. At least learn to regulate it a little bit. I think I started off a little rambunctious, but once I got all the piss and vinegar out of me, I feel like I did a much better job of integrating those components of myself in such a way that my experiment is a success. Not that I was concerned about it, not that I was worried about it. I was just kind of curious to see who was going to come out of this. Because, like, what do they say? When you're working on any kind of spell work, any kind of magic that brings about impactful change in your life, you have to make impactful change on yourself. You're just saying, like, be the change you want to see. Right? But how do you do that? That's where all a bunch of feelings and shit come into play, because you gotta feel like, you gotta feel it. You have to be as if you already have it. But how the fuck do you do that? That's literally contrary to rational thinking. How can I know what it's like to have something that I don't have? Doesn't make any sense. You can imagine it. What do you think it would feel like? Awesome. Really, really awesome. All the time. To the point that it's like, oh shit. So you're saying that I don't have to go back to that other place because I've been there enough times? Now I can start living my life on the other side of the street? Whoa. What's the other side of the street like? The complete opposite? So you mean instead of people who are always like just talking bad about other people or talking about how bad everything is, you mean a place where people like see things positively and are encouraging to each other? Go you. You're doing an amazing job. What? I love that. But that's to imply that you don't already have it. Wait, what do you mean? I don't have it. You have me. I'm always encouraging you. I'm always looking at the positive side of everything, including the negative. Oh my God, so we're already there? Yeah, go us. Awesome. So, I love myself so much that I did it. You did it. Give yourself a pat on the back, buddy. Yeah. But oh boy. All right, so let's see how this works. Okay. Hey, I'm doing another experiment today. It's kind of like what I was doing yesterday. So I came out for a walk, and I came out for a walk to record myself, and I'm about an hour into it, and maybe about like 15, 20 minutes ago, like I don't know, I didn't feel like I was saying anything. Like I felt like I could have got more shit out, but then I had this idea pop in my head that said, what's something that only I could talk about? And then as I was walking, talking and thinking, I popped in my head, intuition. What's your thoughts on intuition? Which is what I asked you last night. But I was thinking about it, and I'm like, you know what would probably not be the worst idea is, because I don't think I ever told you about, I mean, I know we kind of sort of touched on it, but I'm pretending I'm doing a class. Because nobody actually watches these. There's three people that seem to watch these fucking like 2-hour videos I post once in a while. So I pretend that I'm talking to them. And everybody else. But I was just thinking about the whole intuition thing, and I was about to start talking to it, and I'm like, you know what? Why don't I include you? This way, I can at least have a focal point. Not that you're obligated to listen to all this, because I'm letting this run out to like a half hour. I might do 2 because I have an hour left on this phone. So I might drop you about an hour's worth of me talking. I'm not gonna delete. I mean, I could just delete it, but why? That doesn't make any sense. So just to catch you up on where we are, I know you're at work. You can't actually listen to all this, but I have absolutely no respect for Hugo Boss, so I'm just going to pretend that that doesn't even exist. So what I was just kind of going on about, right? So this morning I went on Facebook and I was scrolling through. So typically, like after I wake up, depending on how I'm feeling, like I might lie there for like another 15 minutes, half hour, hour, sometimes at 2 hours, depending on what time it is. Either right away I'll put my headphones on or I'll just lie there and I'll just let my mind go wherever the fuck it wants. Because I'm still kind of like in the half sleep phase. So the visual aspect of my brain is still firing from a half asleep perspective. So by keeping my eyes shut, it kind of lets me stay in that place and kind of see where the storyline is going. Now that how's that related to intuition? Because my intuition is what told me to do it. Just lie here, watch the movie, pay attention. You're learning something. Because it comes through, at least this is my perspective on it. I'm not saying this is how it works for everybody. I've done a lot of like fucking training on the goddamn thing. So I hear it in a couple different ways. And I see it in different ways too. So what I was just saying on this, on the other phone, is it recording now? Yeah, it's recording now. It's been recording this whole time. No, I got lost in a thought. So I see it as internal and external messages. What do I mean by that? So the internal messages are usually like pretty easy to discern. They come through feelings. Kind of like, oh, I feel good about this. I don't feel good about this. I feel like I should make a left. I feel like I should go get a burger. Now, those are like simple little things, but they're all relevant. Because I see intuition as that quiet little voice that's in the back of your head that kind of points its finger in a certain direction and goes, go that way. And not literally walk that way. It could be just taking action. Hey, I think you should include 2 phones on this one. All right. It's like my intuition told me that this was a good idea to do. Just like last night, when I asked you about intuition, the reason I did that was because when I was out here recording yesterday, that question had popped in my head. I think it's like somewhere halfway through. I don't know. But I mentioned, like, I gotta remember to ask you this. And so last night I went out for a cigarette, and because what the fuck happened? I was like really happy with everything that I was able to get out of myself over those couple hours when I was recording. So I was kind of like just tooting my own horn on that for a while. But I ended up going out for a cigarette to take a break from writing. And when I was out there, I don't know, it just fucking popped in my head. I went, oh fuck, I forgot to actually ask her that question. But based on your response, I kind of took that as a confirmation that my intuition was spot on, that was exactly the topic that needed to be brought up at that particular moment. So that's one way I see it, where that like kind of, where inspiration just comes out of nowhere. Where the fuck did that come from? I mean, I know that I had planted the seed originally, but my intuition popped in to remind me of that thought so that I could take action on it. Just like how it was my intuition that came to me yesterday through like mental movies that told me it was a really good idea to record for the channel, but then also record me talking to you to kind of help stabilize what I was saying for the other camera phone. And when I look back at yesterday and how it worked out, oh fuck yeah. Because even listening to those mental movies that were playing, it was my intuitive voice on the inside that was telling me, pay attention to what this is telling you. Pay attention to where this little mental movie is going. Because it was coming in through like bits and pieces at first, because I was writing at the time. But as I was writing, these little mental pictures would pop up. And as I would continue writing, it would get more detailed, and then it would start to fill itself out a lot more. The picture started to fill itself out more until it started to play like a movie. Only maybe a couple seconds here and there, not long. Just enough for me to get like a general idea of what was happening, and then I would kind of snap out of it and I would continue on with writing. Until finally, this went on for maybe like 5-10 minutes, something like that. It wasn't a really long time. But by the end of that time, I had written out everything that I was seeing. And I felt a little spark under my ass, like, all right, let's go. Let's do it. This was a really good idea. Let's go make it happen. But I think the reason I'm so... See, now here's the thing, now. And I think this is because this is what used to get me a long time ago, especially throughout my entire life. Because I always recognized that I was an intuitive person. And I would try to call it out in public settings when it kind of worked. Just like little things. Kind of like, you know how you just know something's going to happen right before it happens? Yeah, I saw that happening. Like that. Like that. But I would even say to myself, that's my female intuition popping in. Because actually, there was a part of me that actually believed it. Everyone's got a masculine and feminine side? Yeah, my feminine side's got fucking intuition. I got female intuition and my feminine side. What the fuck do you want me to tell me? Every time I would say that, like, April or one of her family, you're not a woman. No shit. Obviously going over your head. But there were other experiences where intuition would come through, and a lot of the times I would attribute it to being my mind playing tricks on me, which makes sense. That's what everyone says. It's like, nah, I don't believe that shit. That's just your mind playing tricks on you. All right. How do I know it's not your mind trying to play tricks on me, telling me that my mind's trying to play tricks on me? Why should I trust your mind over my mind? But that's where, like 5 years back, is when I decided, you know what? Let's see what the fuck happens if we just let intuition just guide us. Because at the time, I had just really gotten into studying the occult and magic and symbols. And a common thread between all of that was the importance of intuition. But at the same time, I was also going through a spiritual awakening at the time too. So there was also that component in there. So I was I was consuming content and information from as many different sources as possible so I can get as many different perspectives on what the fuck was happening to me. Even though it wasn't exactly like that at first. Because at first I thought I fucked my brain up. I remember sitting in my dining room one night and like I started thinking to myself, you shouldn't be fucking with that occult shit. See what happened? You broke your brain. Because now you're seeing shit that isn't there, that nobody else can see. But then it was like maybe a week or two later, I had this intuitive nudge to look on YouTube for something really random. And I found a video that had absolutely nothing to do with what I was looking for, but it was exactly the video that I needed because the dude was talking about everything that I was experiencing. To a T. It was so fucking weird. I had never had something like that happen before. Now granted, he wasn't like specifically going, oh Derek, this is it. And it wasn't specific details, but the way that he was explaining it and the wording that he was using, it made sense. It made so much sense to me that I went, holy shit, I'm not fucking crazy. Oh my God. Thank fucking God. Oh my God. It was like the best day of my life because at that point, it was right before my sister got married. It was literally like a week or two before my sister got married. This is when Derek became fucking Saint Derek. I became the fucking new messiah of my family. Which was right when everyone started to recognize that I went fucking batshit crazy. Which was solidified in their minds after I quit my job. I kept on saying, I don't care about money. I remember there was one day, in that journal that you got, there's an entry in there, probably from, oh man, it had to be from like July, I think. It was in the summer. Desmond and I, we came down to my mom's. We spent the day down here. And, no, we spent the weekend. And there had been some concern over the fact that I had resigned. And I remember my mother saying to me, you need money to survive. And in my journal, I was so offended by that. I was so offended by that statement. And I said to her, I'm like, nah, you don't need money to survive. You need food and water to survive. But I don't know, I believe that there's an entry in there where I talk about that and go, fuck that shit. Just because she said that, I don't want money ever again. But also in that book, in that same book, I did write, I'm not moving back to my mother's. I think this is going on like fucking, I think this is going on year 5. So what am I doing right now? Now I'm in Birch Grove in my secret spot, and by the, I don't know if you're familiar with this place, but there's like a big fucking tower hidden in the woods. So what I come over and do is, it's right off one of the paths. So, one of the side paths. But in the kind of area that it's in, there's these big cement cubes that are holding in the stabilizing cables for the tower so it doesn't fall over. And I just stand on one and I walk in a circle. And I point the camera at me and I just start talking. But now I have 2. So the one camera's here, hi. And the other one's here, hi. So like I said, this is an intuitive experiment because what I've been doing, especially with the camera, with the phone in my left hand, is how do you explain it? Just the way that I was just explaining it to this one. So there was a thing I was talking about anytime you're working with like manifesting or magic or trying to bring any kind of impactful change into your life, it's lots of sayings. Some of them insist that in order to receive what you want, you have to be the person that's capable of even having that thing. It's like my ebony brother in New Hampshire said, you cannot catch a coconut when you are holding a watermelon, bro. You have to drop the watermelon to catch the coconut. But the idea is that by dropping the coconut, you now become, before you even catch the watermelon, right? Before you drop the watermelon. After you drop the watermelon. Once you drop the watermelon, you become a coconut person. You haven't even caught the coconut yet, but you are now a person who's capable of catching the coconut. I love that analogy. But that's where, like, intuition comes in. At least for me. These are just generalizations that I found based on my own life experiences. Is that intuition tends to then guide you in the direction to learn the things and drop the old things that are keeping you from being the person who deserves the things, the new things, right? So, what I was explaining before was that part of the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing with this phone, the other phone, is that by putting myself in a simulated public speaking situation, I'm breaking free of all the insecurities and fears that would hold me back from being able to do this in a live situation, right? Because we all know that Derek loves fucking talking. And he loves talking about himself. And he would love to be paid to be talking about himself. To people who are paying him to listen to him talk about himself. So what better way to do it than to actually like do it, right? But now at the same time, the more that I do it, the more that it's able to kind of bring out the parts of me that need to be really good at it. And the stores I worked at with Boss definitely helped with that, especially in Lancaster. I used to go on my fucking rants during the workday. If we were having a slow day, that was the day for Derek to put the fucking spotlight on himself. All right, time to talk about me. Everyone gather around. Here's Derek's vision. So yesterday when I was putting together the idea to come and do this with you involved, I realized I talk best with Kim than I do with other people sometimes. But when I talk to Kim, sometimes it has a habit of bringing a part of me out that doesn't come out with anybody else there. You know what I mean? So I wanted to incorporate Kim's Derek with this other Derek, and then make a Derek love child out of the two. Because when I first started doing this a couple weeks ago, like I was all like piss and vinegar about it, like huffing and puffing around, just purging, getting shit out of me. And it felt so good. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I like doing this. I can do this. But sometimes it gets a little just like all over the fucking place, you know? So I wanted to see what happens when I do this with you, and if it brings something out of me that is worth keeping out on the surface, right? Right. Right, because the idea is not just to be, now, the idea is not just public speaking, it's just in general. Because doing shit like this, it's spooky, it's scary. It makes me have to like face insecurities that I don't want to feel. Like I feel so fucking uncomfortable with this right now. Which is probably why I feel like I'm coming off as comfortable with it as I am. But internally it feels like a goddamn nuclear war going off. But exposure therapy. What does this have to do with intuition? What does this not have to do with intuition? Because everything I'm doing right now is based on intuition. It's based on me just following my intuitive guidance system. Get up today. I could have stayed in bed all day, but something told me that like I needed to come do this right now because it was a really good idea. So this kick that I've been on, I remembered that I was saying this a little bit yesterday in those recordings, but I never actually finished what I was saying. But another component of bringing impactful change into your life is to realize that, one, I have to be that person. But how the fuck do I have to be them? I have to learn some things. I have to learn some things that I don't know yet. Like in order to open the door for the future that you want to see for yourself, you have to get the keys to unlock it. Like this analogy that I've been using a lot lately is you can't run a German company if you don't know how to speak German. I mean, I guess you could. It's going to be difficult. That's why it's wiser to learn how to speak German before you bang on the door of a German company and say, I'm in charge now. You know what I mean? You have to sprechen Sie Deutsch. But I tried to, what I've been doing lately is I look at the things I'm doing, not just the things I want to be doing, right? Like I want to be traveling and getting all the money and doing all the things, right? But worry about that later. How is what I'm doing right this second opening up doors for that potential to happen? Because a good thought to have and to keep in mind is that the future is chaos. It's all potential. But it's what potential do you actually see and what can you make out of it? Obviously, you're not going to be able to see opportunities that you are blind to. If you don't see something as an opportunity, then you completely miss it. I have personally done enough work to myself where I start to look at everything as an opportunity. Especially the shit that I don't want to do. If I don't want to do it, then chances are that means it's going to have a bigger impact. Oh, or I could just ask to see if there's something I could fucking do so I don't have to pay. That's another option. It doesn't have to be just canceling it. Sorry, that's a separate thought, just intrusive thought. Now, what I was saying was just kind of inspiring. I was getting kind of inspired off of what I was saying, and then, because I got the subscription to this group, but I'm down to my last $300, so they don't make it easy to cancel the subscription. So I had to reach out to tech support, or to the support line, to ask them how to cancel. But it just kind of dawned on me that I did have a fairly decent impact on at least one of the administrators of the group. So then it just kind of dawned in my head, maybe I should have asked, well, maybe I can ask still, if there's anything I could do for the group so I don't have to pay for my subscription anymore. And then I'll just do the thing. Like talk. They have, the group has this like 24/7 Zoom that people get scheduled and talk on it. And then the other people in the group, they go there and watch. It's called Impact Theory University. It's about teaching people how to dig into themselves to find that part that wants to make an impact. My intention when I first signed up for it, because I think I signed up for it back in, I was in Lancaster still. Oh shit, dude. Oh shit. That didn't fucking record at all, man. I just fucking recorded for fucking a half hour. The guy didn't think. It said save 5 minutes, 5 seconds of it. Well, worst case, I mean, I know what you're thinking. If it's that important to you, then you can just send her a link to the video because, yeah, that's a good point. Well, I guess, you know what, then I'll just keep on recording it. All right, so then, hold on, music. What happened? Okay. All right. So this is actually the second recording I'm making. I wasn't paying attention and it cut off at a half hour, but it only saved fucking 5 seconds of it. But I was recording a conversation with you and me that I was trying to have on my other phone for my YouTube channel. So I'm holding both phones at the same time because I was trying to talk about intuition. Because I got inspired yesterday to kind of dig into it myself. So I was going to make a video about talking about it, but then I'm like, you know what, why don't I include Kim on this again? This way I feel like I'm actually talking to somebody that I know. Why don't I just pick YB? Because this is a conversation that we were having. Plus, consider what you said last night. I thought to myself, maybe this might actually be helpful for her to wrap her head around the whole thing by sharing my own experiences with it. And at the same time, I'm recording myself because it helps me get better at talking. So it's like double pressure. But the reason I'm even doing it the way that I am right now is based on an intuitive nudge from when I was walking before. So I'm in Birch Grove again. And I was looking for something to say on this other phone. When it kind of clicked in my head to pick up from last night. So then I just had this really awesome fucking like 30-minute fucking rant. I loved it at least. But oh, this isn't working. I can't do it again. Wait. You just had a 30-minute conversation with her. You're not going to go on with about what it was? No, why? She can't listen to this shit anyway. She's at work. And if it's that important, I can send her a link to this video. I don't know if she's going to sit there and watch 2 hours. I don't know, maybe. Now I feel quiet again. Now I'm just thinking about I'm thinking about this lesson that I learned. Something from Star Wars Survivor yesterday. About the Padawan that kept on running into walls. Trying to be too impatient. Oh, fudge. You really like her? Yeah, of course I do. It's not really anybody else in my life like her. No, she's the only one like her in my life. Which is a good thing. I don't mind that at all. I like having a lady friend. I love having a lady friend. You talk about intuition. One time, I was traveling for work. It was a Sunday, and I forgot I put my my clothes in the dryer. And then just out of the fucking blue, she messages me and goes, I don't know why, but just something told me I have to get your clothes out of the dryer. Oh shit, thank you. Because I was lying in bed. I was ready to get ready for bed because I had to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I didn't even want to get up to to get the laundry after she said something, but I completely fucking forgot about it. Where the fuck did that come from? Maybe you told her that you were doing laundry. No, this was just a thing. It was fucking awesome, though. I remember thinking, like, as soon as it happened too, I'm thinking, she is the one. I think so. I think it's like I think we were divinely brought into each other's sphere of influence for a reason. I mean, we've known each other for about like 4.5 years now. Maybe a little less than 4.5 years, maybe 4.25 years. But we've only actually been talking and getting to know each other closer over the past 2. Actually, tomorrow's the 2-year anniversary of the day that I gave her my number. It took me 2 years to build up the confidence to actually do that. You want to talk about bringing and manifesting something impactful and amazing into your life? Let me tell you about the story about me and my lady friend. Because from the moment I met her, I just knew. I'm gonna marry her. I need to. I have to. This is my fucking calling. Service of self and service to others. My purpose is to be of service to her. By being of service to myself. If anybody else gets the benefit of it, bonus points. This woman has been nothing but an inspiration to my life. From the moment I walked into her store and went, what is that creature right there? I didn't know I was walking into this. And the more that we got to know each other over the years, the more I was just, oh boy. Wow. I feel like everything I've ever been looking for in the tiniest little package. Because it may only seem that way to me, but I feel like I'm the perfect person in your life. Exactly. My intuition tells me you're exactly the person that she has been looking for her entire life. And vice versa. And I'm not gonna lie, like, she keeps me sane. And functioning. And inspired. So very inspired. Everything I do is kind of based around her. I want to make a life out of myself with writing and speaking and doing all these things, right? Yeah? A lot of my writing, I write to her in the sense that I imagine she's the only one reading it. Not the only one reading it, but I use her as the focal point. It's very subtle, it's very subdued. I mean, I think unless you're me, like, you're not gonna realize it. I don't know if she does. I've never asked. I mean, I did ask her once. I'm like, do you scope out my page and not say anything? Sometimes. Oh, cool. I forget how that came up. I think she brought up something on something I wrote. Or I think we were just having the conversation and I just kind of threw that in there. You ever look at that thing? We do a lot of text writing back and forth, so I don't know if the inflection is in the text, but But sometimes I look at this, look at what I write. Oh, what is happening here? Sometimes I fucking, sometimes I just write. What did I do? Sometimes I just write and I'm looking at what I'm writing as I'm writing it too, and I go, damn, he's a suave motherfucker. A charming ass. Sit. Oh my god. My god. There's McDonald's, but McDonald's is out the way. There's Wendy's. Wendy's is expensive. Goddamn, alright, fine. I get it. Don't deny yourself. Don't deny yourself. There's my intuition kicking in. Don't deny yourself just because you don't have a lot of money. Just because you believe you don't have a lot of money. What, yeah, I had this one time, I had this intuitive, I've already talked about that. So how do you train your intuition? By using it. By trusting it. Like, that's the thing, that's the thing, is you have to trust it first before you can believe in it. It goes in stages. Or there's phases to it. Like, first it starts off as gut instincts, then it's intuition, then it's your higher self, soul messages, and then it's God and Satan. And it goes from trust to belief and then faith. I'm listening to it right now. And it's telling me how to continue the conversation of intuition that I was having last night. Well, I was attempting to have last night. Well, I messaged her during the day. Would I say them the initiator? Yeah, of course. But that's kind of the way it's supposed to be. That's what masculine energy is also all about. Like, what? I mean, masculine versus feminine energy. Like, the masculine energy is more active. It's called, it acts. It does things. It expands outward. Feminine energy is more receptive. It takes. It's receptive. Yeah, I could see that. Talk about your own experience. Yeah, so it started off like you have to trust it first. You have to trust that you're not going crazy and that you can actually trust yourself. But the only way to do that, like I said, the only way to do it is to take the fucking plunge and just go, fuck it, all right, let's see what happens. And just trust that, like, all right, well, I have to go do this because it's gonna be worth it. It's hard to see right now, but nah, it doesn't seem that way yet, but I have to trust that by continually trusting, it's going to help me in the long run, because once I can trust it enough and go, holy shit, it does work. Then we can start believing in it. I go, I believe it's going to work again. I believe it. It's not, like, it's difficult to fucking, to just blindly believe something. Like, I'm the type of person where I need evidence. And it took me 38 years of not trusting my intuition as deeply as I could for me to finally go, fuck it, let's trust it. Let's see what happens. And after some time, like, I just started to believe it. It's difficult to say when the shift itself actually happened because it was progressive. It was all relative. To one degree or another. But what the biggest killer of trust within your intuition is it's too good to be true. Oh, you know what? Hi. Hi, sorry, I didn't mean to hit the sun. I was actually recording. I was recording for YouTube. And then I had brought you into it, like I did yesterday, and it recorded for a half hour, but it only saved 5 seconds of it, so I deleted it. But I continued the conversation because I was talking about intuition. And what we were going over was kind of some of the phases, the steps to learning to have faith in your own intuition, which I believe, I could be wrong, but my intuitive knowing is telling me that might have been something that was kind of going through your head last night while you were thinking about all that stuff. And as I was just listening to myself talking on here, on this other phone, I just said something and it made me go, oh, you know what? That's actually like a really good point. And what I was saying was, like, intuition, right? It goes in phases. First, you have to build trust with it. And what I was saying was, this might be about like 10, 15 minutes, so just bear with me. What I was saying was, like, it starts off, I started off not trusting it at all. I always thought it was just my mind playing tricks on me, right? Things would happen before, I would know things before they would happen. I would see things before they would happen in my mind. I would have these, like, really complex ideas. And just, like, little intuitive things. Like, here, why don't you go to the store today? Because you're going to find something that you didn't even realize that you needed. And then finding something that is like related to this big grand scheme of mine, right? And it plays in perfectly. Wow, I didn't even realize I needed that. But that is going to help me answer all these other fucking questions. Perfect. It took me about 37 years of not trusting it and thinking that it was my mind playing tricks on me that I finally decided to go, fuck it. You know what? Let's just see what happens if I allow myself to live my life just based on what my intuition is telling me. And in theory, the more that I do it, the better, the more comfortable I'm going to get with how it feels, how I know when it's kind of coming in. But also at the same time, if this is really happening, then the more that I see results, for positive results from it, then the more that I know I can trust it, right? By doing it enough times, by following those nudges and by following those like just little eureka moments, just whatever it is, even if it's just like, something's telling me to make a left instead of a right today, right? Even just following through with little shit like that, it kind of builds up this trust meter. And once enough trust has been built, then it turned into, all right, I believe that if I do this, if I listen to it, something positive is going to come out of it. Maybe not at first, but I believe in my personal experience enough to trust that this isn't a bad idea. But again, belief, all right, we're still seeing positive results. This is a good thing. That means that this shit actually does work. And mine is actually pointing me in the right direction. That's awesome. And as that belief meter started to fill up more and more, and I started to believe in it and in myself, then it just kind of turned into having faith in it, which is not the same as blind faith. It's more, okay, this has happened enough times. It's kind of like, I have faith that if I watch a clock long enough, over the course of 24 hours, the hour hand will touch the 12 twice. I have faith. As long as it doesn't break or some kind of unforeseen thing happens, I have faith that that fucking hour hand is going to hit that 12 2 times in 24 hours. Does that make sense? I think it makes sense. But now, what I was just saying that kind of triggered me to grab you and bring you in on this is one of the obstacles that get in the way. Because I'm making it seem like it's all sunshine and rainbows, it's easy peasy, but it's not. Because there is, and I think this is what plagued me for the first 37 years, and it still continues, it still does. I was telling you about this the other day, is it's too good to be true syndrome. Because there's always that counter voice, that counter perspective that comes through and is like, yo, I don't know about all this. This seems a little fishy. But that's also not a bad thing. I don't see it as a bad thing. Maybe at a time I did, but I don't see it as bad anymore. Because that counter perspective is basically exactly what I needed in order to kind of balance it out. So how do I explain that? So by allowing myself to hold on to both beliefs, right? Okay, this is really happening. And this is way too good to be true. Because from some respects, yeah, it is. But at the same time, there's also the degrees to which that, oh, fuck yeah, this is actually happening. So it's just a matter of, for me, it's just a matter of allowing it to prove itself. And what I mean by that is, okay, if this is really happening, then I don't have to do as much as I think I do. If this is too good to be true, fair enough. That just means that something else is going to come out of it. There's going to be a different opportunity that's going to, a different opportunity that will make more, that'll be more in alignment with what it is that I'm trying to do. In the sense that, okay, I thought that was going to work, but no, it really was too good to be true, which is okay because that was actually preparing me for this thing that hasn't happened yet. Which I'm not going to realize that until after the fact, after this thing that hasn't happened yet, after it's happened, and I can look back and go, holy shit. Holy shit, good thing for that thing that came before it. It's a lot of mental gymnastics, but it's what? For me, it's assurance that my faith is well placed in myself. And that I can continue trusting that I'm not going to self-sabotage myself or fuck anything up. Me and Magic had this really awesome video that I checked out on one of my trips home from Lancaster. And in it was short. And she put it really simple. She's like, if something is meant for you, there's no way you can fuck it up. If it's meant to happen, it's going to happen. If it's not, then it's not. But there's no way that you can fuck it up, even if you tried. Which in itself is a difficult thing to trust. I know for me, it was a difficult thing for me to put trust in that idea, because that's a scary idea. It's a lot. Because aside from that too good to be true voice, there's also that other voice that goes, you're gonna fuck this up, you idiot. You're fucking it up. Stop doing all these things that you're doing because you're just making matters worse for yourself. And you're looking like an idiot. But even with that voice, the one that tells me I'm an idiot or that I'm wasting my time or that it's all in my head, that voice, I like to let it talk. I like to let it talk and say all the shit, everything that it wants to talk about. I let it talk as much shit as it can possibly get out. And the reason I do that is because it's going to wear itself out. It's going to run out of things to say. Which has been my experience. Not only does it run out of things to say, but then once it runs out of things to say, it starts to contradict itself. And then once it starts to contradict itself enough, then I start to go, oh, okay, this is horseshit. This is just that part. This is just a part of me that's afraid. Because it doesn't want, it's holding on to something. It's holding on to some kind of belief. It's holding on to some kind of wound that it wants to divert my attention from. So it's trying to play this little sleight of hand. This little sleight of hand trick. Look over there while I hide this deep, dark secret behind my back, and you never notice that it's there. Which can be difficult because that everything I just kind of explained is basically what happens when I go into my dark places, which is when those voices and I see those images in my mind, the ones that want to scare me, the ones that want to make me feel bad, the ones that want to make me feel like an idiot. And it's by just allowing them to do their thing and get their shit out of them. Because I treat them as not separate personalities, but just more like subconscious aspects of my self that live beneath the surface. That need to be rewired, reprogrammed, and re-educated in how things are now. Because one of the bigger lessons I learned in doing all of that has been that those parts of me that are attached to this idea that I'm not good enough, not smart enough, they're stuck in the past. They're literally from the past. They haven't been properly introduced to the current version of reality that we're living in. So they don't understand, those parts of me don't understand yet that everything that I used to believe is no longer relevant. Not everything, but in terms of self-limiting beliefs. So, in essence, by more deeply